Greetings. I'm here to respond to what happened on July 1st, 2024, and on 3 days later, on July 4th, 2024. Why America rejected monarchy is important. The rejection was the case against a king. The founding of the United States of America marked a significant departure from the traditional monarchy systems that had dominated Europe for centuries. The decision to reject the institution of monarchy was a deliberate and thoughtful choice made by the American colonists, driven by a variety of political, social, and philosophical factors. The reasons why America did not want a king, instead opted for a democracy form of government, are very important because of what happened on July 1st. Let's talk about the historical context of saying. The American colonists had a long history of grievances against the British monarchy, which played a significant role in shaping their attitudes toward kingship. The oppressive policies of King George III, including taxation without representation, had restrictions on colonists and the colonial autonomy. It fueled resentment with a desire for self-governance among the colonists. The experience of living under a distant and unaccountable monarch contributed to a deep-seated distrust of monarchy power. On Monday, July 1st, 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court opened the door for Trump to be king. What were the Enlightenment ideas of the colonists? I'm glad you asked. The American Revolution was also influenced by the Enlightenment ideas of liberty, equality, and democracy. For philosophical reasons, and philosophers such as John Locke argued for the importance of individual rights, popular sovereignty, and the separation of powers in government. These ideas resonated with the American colonists, who saw monarchy as incompatible with the principles of freedom and self-determination. They had a fear of tyranny, which is where we're headed back to. The colonists had a fear of tyranny. One of the primary reasons why America rejected a king was the fear of tyranny. The colonists were weary of concentrating too much power in the hands of a single individual, as they believed this would lead to abuse of authority and the erosion of civil unity and liabilities and liberties. The concept of a constitutional monarchy, in which the king's powers were limited only by a written constitution and a system of checks and balances, was seen as insufficient to prevent the potential for tyranny. On Monday, July 1st, 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court opened the door for Trump to be king. The American colonists embraced the Republican form of government, the democracy government, as an alternative to monarchy. The idea of a government by the people, for the people, and elected representatives serving the interests of the citizens of the nation was very important to them. The concept of a president chosen through a democratic process and subject to term limits was seen as a more accountable and responsive form of leadership than this monarchy. On Monday, July 1st, 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court opened the door for Trump to be king. In conclusion of this part of my talk, America did not want a king for a variety of reasons, including historical grievances, Enlightenment ideas, fear of tyranny, and a preference for a democratic government. The rejection of monarchy was a defining feature of the American Revolution and laid the foundation for the establishment of a democratic republic based on the principles of liberty, equality, and self-governance. The decision to break away from monarchy rule reflected the colonists' commitment to creating a more just and inclusive society, free from the arbitrary power of a king. On Monday, July 1st, 2024, the U.S. Supreme Court opened the door for Trump to be king. What was the significance of 1776? Well, I'll tell you, it was a turning point in history. The year 1776 holds a special place in history as a pivotal moment that marked significant changes in the political landscape of the world. The events of 1776 and their lasting impact on society, politics, and culture was called the American Revolution. One of the most notable events of 1776 was the American Revolution, which culminated in the Declaration of Independence on July 4th. This document, drafted by Thomas Jefferson, proclaimed the 13 American colonies' independence from Britain's rule and laid the foundation of a new nation based on principles of liberty, equality, and democracy. The American Revolution inspired similar movements for independence and self-determination around the world, shaping the course of history for centuries to come. The irony and shame that occurred on July 1st, 2024, by the U.S. Supreme Court, when just 3 days later, the celebration of Independence Day was celebrated on July 4th, 2024. The irony of the shame, opening the door for a king when 3 days later celebrating getting rid of a king for all of these couple of hundred years. The Enlightenment, 1776, was also a time of intellectual ferment, with the ideas of the Enlightenment influencing political thought and social change. Philosophers such as John Locke advocated for the individual rights, limited government, and the social contract theory, which provided the ideological underpinnings for the American Revolution and other revolutionary movements. The Enlightenment ideas of reason, progress, and freedom continue to resonate in modern society, shaping our understanding of human rights and democracy that is in jeopardy because of what happened last week. The birth of modern democracy, my friends, in addition to the American Revolution of 1776, saw the publication of Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations, which laid the groundwork for modern economic theory and capitalism. Smith's ideas about free markets, division of labor, and self-interest revolutionized economic thought, and contributed to the rise of industrial capitalism in the 19th century. The principles of economic liberalism and individualism espoused by Smith continue to influence economic policy and global trade relations today. This new government, if elected, will abolish free trade with other nations and cause then a global unrest and a global decline in our position as a strong nation. Trump and Project 2025, if he's elected, will destroy this country's economic status in the world. 1776 was a transformative year that witnessed the birth of modern democracy, the spread of Enlightenment ideas, and the rise of revolutionary movements around the world. The events of 1776 continue to shape our understanding of politics, society, and culture, serving as a reminder of the enduring legacy of those who fought for freedom, equality, and justice. As we reflect on the significance of 1776, we are reminded of the power of ideas to inspire change and the importance of upholding the principles of liberty and democracy for our time. It's worked for hundreds of years, but now it's on the brink of being destroyed. Trump and his followers, if elected, have written a plan called Project 2025 that will destroy democracy as we know it today. Project 2025, the Trump president's wish list that they have boasted about, if he's elected, will be activated immediately the first day. The blueprint, called Project 2025 and produced by the Conservative Heritage Foundation, is one of several think tanks' proposals for Trump's platform if elected. Over more than 900 pages of this manifesto, of this plan, over 900 pages. It's out there on the internet. They're not hiding their hands. They're not throwing rocks and hiding their hands behind their back. They're saying this is what we will do if we get in power. Over more than 900 pages. It calls for sacking thousands or getting rid of thousands of civil servants, expanding the power of the president beyond what the Supreme Court did on July 1st, 2024. Expanding the power of the president, dismantling the Department of Education, and other federal agencies, and then sweeping tax cuts that will help the wealthy and major corporations. The Heritage Foundation unveiled its agenda in April last year. It didn't just happen. April last year, and liberal opposition ramped up as the former President Trump has taken a lead in polls after President Biden's poor debate performance. On Wednesday, hear this out as I close today. On Wednesday of last week, Heritage President Kevin Roberts, remember that name in your prayers. Heritage President Kevin Roberts raised the prospect of political violence during a podcast interview, and then it was shown on television. And I quote, this is what he said: "We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, like 1776, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be. Mr. Roberts told the War Room podcast founded by Trump advisor Steve Bannon, it would remain bloodless if the left, if liberals, if Democrats, if people who don't buy into this 900-page disastrous thing, if we don't buy into it, then, or if we fight against it, then it will be blood. Horrible. The remarks prompted pushback from the Biden campaign, which accused Trump and his allies of dreaming of a violent revolution to destroy the very idea of America. And I close. I'll have more later on another time. The comments have renewed attention on Project 2025 in this document. It's out there online. They're not throwing rocks and hiding their hands. They're throwing rocks and saying, this is what we're going to do. Get ready, get ready. Immigrants will be packed up and loaded up and just put out of the country. Lockdown. Oh my God. We're talking about God bless America. We're talking about in God we trust. We're talking about bring us your poor, your lame, bring your hungry, come on in. Our Statue of Liberty will welcome you in. Yes, it's welcoming in from certain countries, but not in the south of this country. My God, the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. We are in a spiritual warfare. We are, and it is on. May God bless you, and I pray that God will bless America. I'll see you soon.